Andrew, how does this season feel different than last year? Just having that year of experience at the FBS level under your belt.
Um, I'd probably say for me more of that leadership aspect. I feel like going into this off season, I've been focusing on just being more of a leader in the DB room, knowing that we had a lot of older guys last year who were mainly in that role. So now it's up to me to step up and fulfill that role, which I feel like I've been working on and getting better at. So mainly just taking over the room, being a voice, being a guy that players can look to, when they have any questions, or just a guy that players can lean on.
What do you think you got from those older guys last season? What do you think you took away from watching how they led?
Knowing how to bring together a room for sure. I felt like we had a lot of great leaders last year, so just taking a lot of their good qualities and adding it to my game so I can better myself as a leader for myself and for the team.
Feelings about Coach Orich? I know you have some history with him, but how much did that factor into your level of comfort in this transition?
Um, I'd say it factored a lot for sure. When I found out, I talked to Coach Rule about it, and I found out he was an option, and he was thinking about bringing him on board. Like, I was all hands on. I love Coach Orich. I like his scheme, his idea, his philosophy when it comes to football. So, as soon as I heard he was coming on board, like I was all hands on deck with him.
Is there anything that changes about your role in this defense compared to last year?
Um, I mean, as far as the football aspect, really just leveling up my game. But the biggest difference is just like I said, mentioned, just being more of a leader, being more vocal now that those previous leaders have moved on and are going on to do better things. It's now my time to step up and be a voice and a leader on the team.
You may have covered Gilmer when he was at UCLA last year, but now that he's here, what's your impression of him as a player? Quasi.
He's a dog. He wants it. You know, no matter how much food is on his plate, he gonna eat it all. So you see it in the workouts that we're doing. We get a lot of field after the workouts by ourselves. So he's a dog. I'm very excited to go to get started in spring and play against him. We challenge each other and get better.
Andrew, Danny Odom is a freshman that came in. I mean, as an older guy, how do you mentor him and bring him along and just kind of get him acclimated to this jump to Division One?
Just telling them like you gonna mess up. Just letting them know that it's okay to mess up, as you're learning things. Because college, they throw everything at you, and it's your job, to break it down and understand it. So just telling him to give himself some grace. But Danny, like he's been showing out in the workouts that we're doing, so I have no problem that he's gonna come along and get everything right.
Yeah, he's ranked as one of the highest corners that come out of high school in the country.
Yeah.
Have you seen that just
Yeah,
play out
most
already?
definitely. And the way he carries himself, he's very professional for being a freshman coming in. So, yeah, I'm very excited to get on the field and show that the ability that I know he has.
Andrew, the start to spring, February 21st is early. I know you've only been through one of them in Nebraska, but it's earlier than is typical. Players like that. It shortens up the conditioning period ahead of it. Maybe lengthens up some of your prep time after it. What's been the conversation in the locker room and among the players about getting started sooner?
I mean, I haven't heard anything negative. All the guys were all fired up and ready to get started with spring ball. Me personally, I'm ready to get started. I feel like, um, yeah, it's really everybody's ready to get excited, get started. I feel like everybody's excited. We're all looking forward to beginning practice, etc.
You and Jameer Khan both came in at the same time last year. Coach Orich mentioned him as having some skill sets that can fit well in this defense. It seems like he's a workhorse too behind the scenes. What would you say about him and how he's kind of positioned himself going into the spring?
Jameer is one of the hardest workers that I know, for sure. Day in and day out, one of the first ones here, the last ones out of the building type of guy. You're a guy. He's a guy that you want on the field. You want to play with him because of how he works so hard and just how he carries himself. Very professional. A guy that like makes you want to get better because you see how he's working. So yeah, most definitely. And he's very versatile. He plays inside in the slot, and he can also get out at corner and play. So yeah, I'm very ready to get on the field with Jameer as well.
What are the pros and cons in your eyes of moving to afternoon practices, and just when you think about the grind of a season, the value and maybe a little extra sleep?
Yeah, I love a little extra sleep, so that's definitely a benefit. Definitely say for being an athlete, knowing there's a lot of aspects outside of just football as far as like maintaining your weight, health. So I feel like those are like a lot of pros. It allows us to maintain our wealth, or not our wealth, our health and our weight. So because that's the main thing going through camp. Just making sure that you're maintaining your weight. So I feel like that's definitely a pro. Only con I can think of about working in the afternoon is just, I would say, time, but I feel like as a football player, all your time is dedicated to football. Thank you.
Thank you.